Book by Helmar Neubacher. Adolf Hitler, the Evil, and the Revenge of the Billy Goat of Leonding. Chapter 9. Hitler and his niece Geli. Well, Geli, how do you like it here with me, in your new home? The Führer of the National Socialist Party of Germany begins the conversation. It's good, Uncle Alf. I like it very much. And thank you so much for taking me into your 9-room house on Prinzregenten Square 16, here in Munich. I do thank you very much, especially for the nice corner room, with the view on Prinzregenten Theatre. Living here is quite handy if we want to see each other. Before this, you, Uncle, living in Tierstraße number 41, I in the English Garden. It was actually a bit complicated. Now everything is much easier and a lot more beautiful. I really do feel comfortable here with you. And Uncle Alf and his ward Geli are sitting on a big sofa, drinking tea and looking into the blazing flames of the open fireplace. Outside there is snow already, and inside it is homely warm in January of the year 1931. Geli, with her correct name of Angela Maria Raubal, is the daughter of Angela Raubal, a half-sister of Adolf Hitler. Already since 1923, Uncle Alf, as he is affectionately called by his charge, is her official guardian. Now both of them are sitting on the huge sofa, wearing pyjamas, with Geli having her knees drawn up and her arms around them. The uncle is leaned back, so that he is now more lying down than sitting, comfortably on 2 cushions with which Geli has propped him up. There is soft music from the gramophone, which, together with the crackling of the burning birch wood, accompanies the homely atmosphere. The uncle and his niece are alone. Say, Geli, how do you imagine your further future to be? You are already a real woman at 22 years of age, and a beautiful one at that. Come now, Uncle, are you flirting with me? I think I'll make a passable singer, and then can fend for myself. Both are silent for a while. But the uncle comes back to the subject. Can't you perhaps imagine staying with me altogether? I mean forever, little Geli? Oh dear, Uncle, how do you think that is going to work out? Am I to become Mrs. Chancellor of the Reich? That you, Uncle, are going to be the Chancellor of the German Reich one day, after your NSDAP last autumn has already become second strongest party in the country, is as certain as the sunrise. I could very exactly observe your path to power. Especially impressive was that you took me on your campaign journeys every time. And I, little Geli, have met such a lot of important and rich men, and their wives too. The Nuremberg rally in 1927 too, to which you had invited me, was a great experience, even though the trip to the big and well-known cities of Bayreuth, Weimar, Berlin and Hamburg were the actual peak. You know, Uncle, that I don't care much for politics, but the way your driver, Mr. Rudolf Hess, explained everything indeed was a special experience for the uneducated Miss Angela Raubal. With Mother, who had then come along, it was different. For her, it wasn't the tour of the cities which was the highest. No, for her the climax was the up-and-coming party, the NSDAP with its Führer, my famous uncle. And Geli cuddles up to her uncle as in gratitude, really closely. You see, Geli, you have charmed all my party members. Hess, Goebbels, Göring, you have enchanted them all. You have won them as friends for yourself. Everyone likes you, even the women. Both of them pause for a moment to pursue their own thoughts. But then the uncle comes back to the actual nucleus of today's talk. He takes a deep breath, as if to boost his courage, and then takes up the dialogue once again. Can't you imagine staying with me forever with your Uncle Alfie? You don't have to be newly introduced into our society. Everyone knows you. And because you are so open, honest, and altogether natural, everyone will accept you. You are now 22, and we have known each other for such a long time. Now is, of course, the right time to consider yes, to decide if you are going to stay with me forever. And if there can be more between us than the so far uncle-niece relationship. And Geli answers absolutely spontaneously, "But uncle, then I would have to come into your bed." That is just the Geli the way she is. She doesn't beat about the bush, the uncle thinks to himself, sensing a feeling that it wasn't altogether a clear rejection. "But uncle, you do know," Geli takes the word again, "you know that I'm still a virgin." And she blushes visibly all over her face. "Now that shouldn't really be a problem," Uncle Alfie answers quick-witted. "That is something we can quickly change, ha-ha!" And he slaps his thighs as if to again reward himself for the new joke. Both pause, as if having to reassess the situation, each one for themselves. "You know, uncle," Geli starts anew, "you know that I didn't even have anything with my fiancé, Ferdinand Goldstein, to the day when you gave him, the founder of the SS with the party number 49, the boot. Such was your anger when he asked for my hand in marriage." "Yes, uncle, that's how I am, a big mouth to all topics, but my femininity will reach only the one who has married me. Bit old-fashioned, isn't it, Uncle Alfie?" No, Geli, I'm quite of the same opinion. The thing between man and woman is really something holy, and the way you do it is quite all right. Wait for the night after the wedding, like in ancient times, old-fashioned perhaps, but nowadays modern again too. "Well," Geli continues the conversation as if she doesn't want to stand for appearing like a little sexual hillbilly. "Well, uncle, I do know just a little bit about sex from Mum. And there also was, when I was 9 years old, my school friend Karlchen. Karlchen always picked me up at Mum's place to go and play cuckoo. Karlchen then pulled off his trousers, and my panties had to go too. Then he lay down in the hay on top of me and kept fidgeting around in a funny way. Just like an old billy goat. Ha ha ha! She roars with laughter. "That's the way Mum and Dad do it," Karlchen used to explain. And then he asked me to groan, because that's what his mum did too. According to Karlchen's words, she used to groan something terrible. And Karlchen never was quite sure whether it was from pure pain or from pure pleasure. And Karlchen kept on fidgeting around on me like a genuine billy goat. While the uncle still had himself under control during the whole of the children's story, it now really burst out of him. "For God's sake, Geli, don't mention billy goats to me," the uncle hisses in barely suppressed fury. Geli is really taken aback, as the word was to be merely a funny comparison. But the strong-willed young woman immediately gets a grip on herself and continues quite freely. "Karlchen's willy just jangled around in the air, and I didn't at all feel like touching that tiny thing, which really wasn't necessary, because Karlchen never asked me to. 2 years later, it was a different matter. I was 11 and there was Franzl, 3 grades higher. Franzl liked me and always hugged me, just like grown-ups do when meeting, pressing his cheek quite friendly against mine. That's what you do when you like one another, he used to give as an explanation. Then we often went for walks in the woods, and one day it happened. Franzl took another careful look around to see if the coast were clear and if no other peoples were near. "Come on, Gaily, see what a toy I've got for you." Drags me behind a bush, opens his fly and pulls out his willy. Actually, I should have cried out in dismay and shame, but no, to my own surprise, all I uttered was, "Wow, what a thingy!" Despite Franzl being only a little bit bigger than I, his zippedeers appeared to be enormous. Because whenever we girls used to talk about the proportion of our boys' most precious possession, the rule actually was, little boys have little ones, big boys have big ones. "Come on, Gaily, play around a bit." And he put my small hand on it, and in that way I learned to cause him pleasure, with Franzl growling loudly each time. He groaned so terribly that I couldn't help but ask myself if those were the sound one makes when dying. "You don't become pregnant from that," Franzl then used to laugh. We had this game nearly every day, and so long until some fluid shot out the front. Only then did he stop groaning. Following that, we used to walk a bit, with arms wrapped tightly around one another, like a real courting couple. Only when people out for a walk appeared did we stroll separated, all well-mannered, as if both of us were simply innocent little angels. "That is some story, Gaily," and the uncle takes the girl's hand and puts it on his thigh, just like the children probably did. That is something with which the two of us could start, to find out if the cuckoo game pleases us too. And suddenly the uncle grabs Gaily's well-developed breasts and begins voluptuously to make grunting groans. "You see, uncle, that's what Franzl always did too. Grabbed my breasts. They, even then, were already quite developed. And then he groaned, just as you are doing now, Uncle Alfie." Just as Gaily wants to grab the uncle in the crotch, because the pyjama trousers are already bulging mightily, which therefore is, for the young and as well aroused girl, attractive, nearly inviting. But in this moment, the uncle abruptly halts the searching and on discovery going, curious little hand. He seizes her wrist in a firm grip, his thoughts going into a rush. In his political speeches, he always had prepared everything, to the last dot over the I. He knows in all probability how the campaign event is going to proceed. Every detail rehearsed in mind and in practice too. The great master of rhetoric, Adolf Hitler, can exactly judge his audience. That is why his success at elections is so phenomenal. He was never mistaken. His predictions always hit home 100%. But today, in togetherness with his niece, the future mighty Führer of the Germans is completely dominated by his fears. He is in no way capable of assessing what is going to happen within the next minutes, yes, even seconds. Now the moment has come in which my fate and that of Gaily too is going to be decided. That damned Billy Goat, the uncle murmurs, Germany's most famous uncle. Gaily only detects the word Billy Goat from the stuttering murmurs of her uncle and asks, amused and smiling, "But uncle, whatever is the matter with that Billy Goat? Is it by chance a Billy Goat stand between the future Führer of the Germans and his niece? Or is it a kind of coat of arms in your political party? No, Geli, no coat of arms. But you will see that this Billy Goat has something to do with both of us. If it will actually come between us, the next minutes will show. Oh, Uncle, don't keep us in suspense. I'm not a child anymore and can take quite a bit. Resolve the secret. I'm all ears. Don't keep me on tenterhooks, or we'll never come to our main feature. The uncle has now positioned himself bolt upright, his chest pushed forward, supported by an extremely bent hollow back. He straightens out the trousers of his pyjamas. The pert tent in his crotch isn't there anymore, has completely disappeared. The sensuality-laden and by Geli provoked, eroticized mood caused by two little children's stories has gone altogether too. It is unmistakable that the whole of the evening togetherness of the two in conversation has entered a decisive phase. The almighty Adolf Hitler is gasping for breath, totally meek the otherwise so mighty voice, drinks hastily 3 gulps of tea, clears his throat and begins. Geli, my beloved child, my darling, my one and only, I really don't know how to tell you. I'm somehow helpless, and so I'll make it really short. There is a problem, a really big one, of which you, little Geli, can't have any idea. And the all over the country well-known politician, before whom the masses tremble, is speechless. Speechless to a little girl he loves. But uncle, you are otherwise always so brave. Fear nobody. Don't even run away when your friends are beaten bloody by the brutal communists. My dearest Geli, here it is not about beating, but about biting. But Uncle Alfie, you're not trying to tell me that you were bitten by a billy goat? Dogs that can bite really rather mean I've heard of, but I've never come across a vicious billy goat. The normally so word-powerful Adolf Hitler, for the time being, doesn't know what to say, gathers all his courage and begins anew. And yet, beloved niece, there is such a thing, even though it may sound like a fairy tale from the lands of the Indians written by the glorious Karl May. So listen. When I was a little boy in my hometown Leonding, just on 9 years old, we wanted to go into the holidays with a really dramatic start. Something really big, my school friends and I. A test of courage it was to be. Who is going to piddle the billy goat on the medal of Leonding into its mouth? No one dared except I, Adi. And then it happened. The huge snout of the monster bit me in the Zipideus. Yes, that was then some 33 years ago, the cause of what you see here as a result. My penis looks all weird and not anything like the one you know from your friend Franzl. The uncle is as white as a wall in the face, and the questions that would decide everything and demand an answer are: will the revenge of the billy goat follow me all my life? Will I, the great Adolf Hitler, and soon to be the most powerful man of our beloved German fatherland, cringe with fear like a puppy? Will the nasty billy goat retaliate mercilessly each time that I as much as come close to a beautiful woman? But uncle, Geli's voice is heard sounding somewhat like that of her mother when wanting to console a child after a bad dream. "But, Uncle, it can't be that bad, really. Let's have a look at the thingy. You can always talk better about something that you know than about something that you don't know. Fear not, Uncle Alfie. I've already seen Cipideuses, as you know. You won't be able to frighten me either." "Come on, Uncle. No fear. Out with it, dear. That even rhymes." Geli tries to lighten up the depressed mood by that little joke. "So, Geli, gather all your strength. I'll do it." The uncle stands up, pulls up the jacket of his pyjamas, and grabs it with his teeth. "Well, the belly already looks quite good, Uncle Elf, beyond any reproach." Geli can't go on, because the trousers have already been dropped, lie on the ground, and there it dangles, the one mutilated by a billy goat. The new strong man of the German people closes his eyes and sees, like in a film, the furiously foaming Jewish lady Rebecca in the Vienna of 1908. "Everything repeats in life," the 42-year-old Adolf Hitler murmurs, and views with fright the appalled facial expression of his niece. "Until now she was my Geli. But whose Geli is she now?" This question shoots, hot as burning coals, through his mind. Now there she sits, slumped into a heap on the sofa, completely petrified, her mouth wide open, as if she had just met the devil incarnate. Even though she had felt strong, prepared for everything, this was something she really hadn't expected. What a dreadful sight! On top, the half normal flesh-colored penis. Bottom left, the crimson-red cartilage extension. To the right, the bloodless black lobe of skin. With this horrible sight, the normally formed testicles aren't really even noticeable. Geli Maria Raubal, the articulate 22-year-old Fräulein from Linz, who normally isn't easily thrown, is completely devastated. Of the young woman, equipped with sparkling humor, and with the gift to cheer people like Göring, Goebbels, Hess, there is nothing left to be recognized. Dismayed and with eyes wide open, she stares for seconds at the hanging, misshapen shape. "Uncle Elf!" she yells suddenly in panic, and storms out of the room. Book title: Adolf Hitler the Evil and the Revenge of the Billy Goat of Leonding. ISBN 978-3-7322-1417-4. Website www.schadow-book.com